Live. Good day, good day to every single person who is live here with me. So I'm currently going live on Facebook and I'm going to followers. I need you to do a favor. Please share the link with a friend, and those who are following me on Facebook. I would also want you to share the link so every partaker of tonight's section, every single person can be a partaker of tonight's section. My name is Diane David. For those of you who are just streaming me for the very first time, the last time I came live on Facebook was last year, December. I think was it December? Yeah, last year, December. Yeah, I had several sections last year, December. But this year, this is my first time coming live on YouTube and on Facebook. But it's just because we've been doing so much offline, so much, and which is the reason why I haven't been able to come live on Facebook for a while now. All right, so if this is your first time once again streaming me live, I would want you to share the link with a friend, with somebody who pretty much from I will reach out tonight. All right, keep the link, keep sharing. My name is Diane David, and one of I do, I am a mentor, a leadership coach. One of my sense, imagine and observe things from a clearer perspective. One of the things I do is to help people imagine, to help people see, people observe things from a clearer perspective. Our beliefs, ideas of individuals, corporate positions, institutions by untying old beliefs and perceptions to create new waves of ideas and thoughts that would help boost individuals' status quo and companies' narrative. So these are pretty much what I do. A few days ago, I was live with young lady professionals where I spoke about a very important subject on leadership, which is the reason why I'm here today. That's actually what brought me here live on Facebook and on YouTube. All right, that's what brought me live here today. I want to talk about something interesting on the subject of leadership, and which I believe you will pretty much gain a whole lot from here. And once you are done listening to everything, I would want you to go back, sit down, and imagine everything about life. Imagine everything about your growth, right? Just sit down and think. Take a time to ponder on things going on in your life at the moment. Like I said, one of the things I do is I help people see, sense, imagine things from a clearer perspective. So one of the things you're going to be gaining here tonight is that your worldview about life is going to change. Your perspective about self is going to change. Your belief about self is going to change. So pretty much that's what I do, and that is what I serve. That is the service I render to people, right? So the subject I'm going to be discussing on tonight is how you can upscale your leadership performance as a young leading professional. The question is, how can I, as a leading professional, upscale my leadership performance? How can you, as a young leading professional, upscale your leadership performance? Right. So when I use the word upscale, I'm simply talking about how you can upgrade your leadership performance, how you can upgrade your leadership performance, how you can elevate your leadership performance. This doesn't mean you're not doing anything. This doesn't mean you're not leading people, but it is simply talking about how can I upskill? How can I upgrade my leadership performance? So that's basically what we're here to discuss tonight, right? If you are streaming live again from YouTube, probably on Facebook, please don't forget to share the link with a friend. Share the link with a friend who wants to learn from what I'm about to talk to us tonight. All right, how you can pretty much upskill your leadership performance. Now, you need to understand something about leadership. That leadership is a growth for all and not a growth for one. One of the interesting things about leadership is this, right? Leadership is a growth for all and not a growth for one. If I, as a leader, am working on myself, I'm not just building myself, I'm not just working on me, I'm not just disciplining myself all because I want to get disciplined. I'm disciplining myself because I want to get others disciplined as well, right? The reason why I have to work so much on me to get better is because I want to work so much on others to get better for themselves and for the people around them, right? So leadership is a growth for all and not a growth for one. You know, one of the interesting thing again is that one of the ironic part of leadership is people who love the concept of leadership but don't love the sacrifices that comes with being a leader. They love the concept of leadership, but don't like or love the sacrifices that comes with them being a leader. And you only liking the concept of leadership won't take you far as a leader or as a young leading professional. You liking the concept of leadership. Oh, I love to be a leader. It is not just enough to say you love to be a leader. There is nothing wrong about it. But my point is, it is not enough for you to say you love to be a leader. The question is, how are you willing to put in the work needed to be that leader you've desired, you've dreamt of becoming? That's the question you've got to ask yourself tonight, right? I don't just want to love the concept of leadership. I as well want to get to work to be sure everything I do falls in line with the leader I've imagined myself to be. So one of the ironic parts of leadership is people saying they love the concept of leadership, but they are not willing to sacrifice what it takes, what it means to be a leader. They are not willing to sacrifice or to do whatever it takes for them to be that leader they want to be, right? So understand that to increase performance is pretty much getting yourself involved with the works. To increase your performance as a leader is pretty much getting yourself involved with the works that accompanies the concept of leadership. So when we are talking about the concept of leadership, we are talking about the sacrifices that comes in place with you being a leader. We are talking about the pain, the burden that comes with you being a leader. I've heard people severally saying, I like the concept of leadership. You know, when I started my leadership firm, I actually believe that everything about leadership is the way you look, your appearance, your clothes, and everything. That was actually my idea about leadership when I started. But along the way, I got to realize that leadership is beyond what people see on the outside. Leadership is beyond the facade. Leadership is beyond what people can actually see with their naked eyes. Leadership is more about self. And when I say leadership is more about self, I mean leadership is more about who you are and who you are becoming. Leadership is more about who you are and who you are becoming. So the question you want to ask yourself tonight is, who am I and who am I becoming? Who am I and who am I becoming? Where am I headed? Those are the three important questions you've got to ask yourself tonight. Who am I? Who am I becoming? And where am I headed? Who am I? Who am I becoming? And where am I headed? Those are the three important questions you've got to ask yourself tonight. If you want to upskill your leadership performance, right? Or if you want to be a leader, so leadership is not until you get an invite to take over a position before you know you're a leader. Leadership starts with you and ends with you. Leadership starts with you and ends with you. All right. Leadership starts with you and ends with you. Now, what are the steps or what are the ways, right, to upscale your leadership performance? There has to be steps to things, right? There has to be ways on how you can do things. So, what are the steps and what are the ways on how you can upscale your leadership performance? You know, one of the interesting thing about leadership is this, right? I want to believe with me that you don't need to know everything to be a leader. You don't have to know everything to be a leader. You don't have to know everything to lead people. Right. So one of the interesting thing about leadership is you start, right? You start from where you are. You start with what you know. You start with what you have, and you start with the people you know. That's one of the interesting thing about leadership. When I started as well, I thought I have to know everything before I could actually become a leader. But unknown to me, I was already a leader. But in my mind, I'm like, I don't know much. So what do I want to do in the field? I don't know much about leadership. So what am I going to do in the field? What am I going to get to do? So I need to read more books. Of course, I was reading, thinking I needed to know more for me to act. I needed to know more for me to lead people. But I got to realize along the way, it is not about you knowing much to lead people. It is actually about you taking what you know, taking what you have, and starting where you are and starting with the people you know. That is the first step to leadership. That is the first step to leadership. That is the first step to leadership. You don't have to be all knowing before you take up the before you take up before you take up that initiative of leading people. You don't have to know much. You don't have to know everything. That's my point. You don't have to know everything before you start leading people. You lead people by starting with what you have, what you know, the people around you, the people you know, and from where you are. You start from where you are. The second stage to this is that people buy into your experience as a young leader professional or as a young leader or as a leader. People buy into your experience, people buy into your stories, and people buy into your belief system. This is the three things that makes a leader. This is the three things that makes a leader. People buy into our experience because most times when you are teaching, when you are coaching people, people want to listen to your stories, right? People want to listen to your stories. So the question is, what story do you have that you can render or you can offer to the people? Number two, people want to listen to your experience. People want to know more about your experience as a leader. Number three, people want to buy into your belief. So there are three things you sell as a leader. Number one, you sell your experience. Number two, you sell your stories. Number three, you sell your belief to them. You sell your belief to them. Understand that assumption is for the weak, imagination is for those who are strong. Assumption is for the weak, imagination is for those who are strong. So, as a leader, we don't just assume on everything. As a matter of fact, a leader shouldn't assume, right? Because assumption is for the weak. Assumption doesn't take us anywhere, but is what takes us somewhere. Imagination is what takes us somewhere. So you must understand assumption is for the weak, imagination is for those who are strong. Assumption is for the weak, imagination is for those who are strong. One of the most important aspects of you trying to upscale your leadership performance is self discovery. You cannot lead people outside of self. You cannot lead people without you understanding who you are. So one of the things I tell my people is that if you want to lead people, if you want to start a journey of leadership, you must learn what it means to discover self. So self-discovery is an important ingredient when it comes to leading people. Self-discovery is a way for us to explore our individual personalities, natural preferences, values, beliefs, preferred styles, and tendencies. Let me read this again. Self discovery is a way for us to explore our individual personalities, natural preferences, values, beliefs, preferred styles, and tendencies. So, self discovery is a way of we exploring our individual personalities. Self discovery is a way of we exploring our individual personalities, natural preferences, values, beliefs, preferred styles, and tendencies. Right? Don't also forget this. People buy into your style as a leader. People buy into your style as a leader. So when I use the word style, what do I mean? I'm talking about your culture as a leader. What culture do you represent as a leader? We are getting there, so I don't want to fast track that. But what culture do you represent as a leader? That's the question you must ask yourself. Because what's the point of leading people when you are not certain of who you are and where you are heading in life? Tell me, what's the point of you leading people where you're not truly certain of who you are, right? You're not certain of where you are headed and you want to lead people. What's the point of you trying to lead people when you're not even sure of self? You've not truly understudy, or pretty much understand your essence in life. It is those who have understand who they are, who understood their essence in life, have that courage, have that boldness to lead people forward. If you want to lead people forward, you must understand self. You must be in alignment with the plans and purposes of God. People will say everything falls and rises on leadership, which is true. However, this is the way I put it: everything falls and rises on self because leadership starts with you and ends with you. Leadership starts with you and ends with you. So everything doesn't just fall and rises on leadership, everything falls and rises on self. Everything falls and rises on self. I said this when I started this section that one of the reasons why you are working on self is so you can work on others. One of the reasons why you have to discover self is so you can help people discover who they are, right? So you as a leader cannot say you want to lead people, or you cannot just claim that you are a leader when you have failed to understand who you are. You cannot just claim you are a leader when you have failed to understand where you are heading in life. So self-discovery helps your competency and effectiveness. That's what self-discovery does to us. Self-discovery helps me, right? It helps my competency and it also helps my effectiveness as a person. So imagine if I haven't discovered who I am. It is possible I won't be here tonight to want to talk to people, to want to coach people, to want to mentor people. So one of the reasons why I have so much courage and confidence in the things I do is because I've sat down and asked myself serious questions about life, serious questions about self. Who am I? Where am I headed? Where am I going in life? Where am I going in life? Remember, I said discovering self is not really by assumption. Discovering self is not by assumption. It's not you assuming. You assume that this is who you are. You assume that this is who you are becoming. You assume that this is what you want to do. Self-discovery is about imagining self. You've got to work with the power of the mind if you want to lead people. So discover yourself first before you're thinking of discover, before you're thinking of helping people to discover themselves, right? Number two is once you are done discovering self, you must find your niche, right? Find your niche. What is your spirit craving for? What are you as a person craving for? What do you really want to do with life? Find your niche. So your niche is your area of influence, your ability, your capacity, knowledge, control, and dominance. Do you get the point now? Your niche is your area of influence, your area of ability, your area of capacity, your area of knowledge, control, and dominance. So the question you want to ask yourself in the journey of you finding your niche are this. Number one, what do I want in life? What do you want in life? Please give me a few minutes. Let me check something. Um, I think my connection is trying to mess up right now. Please give me a few seconds. We're back. Sorry for the short break. Sorry for the short break. Right? We're talking about finding your niche, right? So what must you do, right, in the journey of you finding your niche, right? The first question you want to ask yourself is, what do I want? What do you want? Or let me put it this way, what do you want out of life? Number two, what must I do? What must you do? How do I operate and how do I function? Now, I spoke about how you can discover self, right? Self-discovery is important. It's part and parcel of you upscaling your leadership performance. So once you are done discovering self, the next thing you want to do is to know or to find your niche as a leader. Or if you want to upscale your leadership performance as a leader, you have to find your niche. A lot of people are functioning in the wrong field, and it seems not to pay attention to that at all, right? A lot of people are functioning in the wrong field. They actually assume that what they're doing is the right thing. You might think what you're doing is right, but you might not fall in line with purpose. So you're not pretty much paying attention to pretty much paying attention to your calling. You might just feel, well, I'm doing the right thing. What you're doing might be right, all right, but like, what is your spirit telling you? What is your spirit saying to you? In God's alignment, are you in line with God's plans and purposes for your life? That's the question you must ask yourself. Are you in line with God's purposes, agenda, plans for your life? So the last question is, what exactly am I joyful at? For instance, now, the reason why I'm here tonight is not just because I want to coach people, I want to speak to people's mind. It's actually because I find joy in doing what I'm doing tonight. I find so much joy. So, what is that thing that you can do without regretting you doing it for free? A lot of people cannot, and that's how you know if probably they are doing this to make money or they are doing this to help people. I'm not saying you cannot help people by them paying for your services, but you've got to let certain things go. There are times you've got to let certain things go. All right. So once you are in that space of finding your niche, the questions you want to ask yourself is, What do I want? So figure out what you want out of life. All right. Figure out what you want out of life. What must happen? It's not what should I do. It's a must. Then there has to be something you must do. There has to be something you must do. How do I operate and how do I function? They are very important. Finding your niche is about finding your area of interest. So when I'm talking about you finding your niche, I'm talking about your area of interest. Is why I said, what is that thing you can do without getting paid for it? Without getting paid that people did pay for the service. Find is of the leader. So you won't ask for things. You won't have to find your niche. Number three, self development. This is how upskill when it comes to leadership, right? So when we talk about self-development, we are talking about attitudinal cooperation. When we talk about self-development, attitudinal cooperation, we're talking about attitudinal cooperation. Attitudinal cooperation are with your mental cooperation to do your mental modeling. What is about life? What is your concept about people? Idea about life? What is your idea? How do you these things are based on your model? Pretty much controls your the things you think controls your attitude. Imagine controls your behavior. So you want to mental, you want to work on your mind. So self-development, equipping the mind, equip self, working right, equipping self, working on self. You know, one of the about reading people just read book for fun, right? When I use a lot of read books for fun, what I'm talking about, people just read books. Is it books? There are a lot of people reading books. A lot of reading books. Take action being read from those books. So my point is, it is not just okay to read books. What makes the book worth reading? Actions. So you can read thousands of books, and yet you are still in the same position. Is when you hear there's a popular goose does, right? It's louder than voice. Action speaks louder than words, right? It's still the same thing. Action speaks louder than words. So you don't just want to read books and stop there. You want to take action on the things on the books you've read. You want to take action on the things and on the books you've read. All right? So understand that self-development talks about mental modeling. And I say mental modeling is about attitude. Modeling is about it passes the way you think and how you function. It encompasses the way you think and how you function. It pretty much defines your risk life. It pretty much defines your response to life and your response to things. All right, we self-equip to say we self-equip to develop and to train others to be the same. So as a young leading professional, one of the reasons why you must upskill your leadership performance is not just because you want to keep equipping self, but you are equipping self. See, act with the understanding that you are equipping self to equip others. You are developing self to develop others. So what means themselves. So it's one of the reasons why you are called a leader. It's one of the reasons why you are in that position of leadership. To pretty much assist people, to guide people, Is why when I started the session, I said, um, you have to start with what you have, with what you know, where you are, and with the people you know. And pretty much I said the second to that is that people buy it as a leader, people buy into your stories as a leader, and people buy into your belief as a leader. People buy into your belief as a leader. Self-development is imperative to performance culture as a leader. Self-development is imperative as a leader. So when I talk about performance, how do you act towards the people working for you? Where's your heart towards the people you are working with or you're working for? Where's your heart towards your followers? What's performance culture all about? Have you really sat down to discover your performance culture? How do I think? How do I talk to people? How do I approach people? You know, when I started, these things I had to put into consideration, right? I don't just want people to see me as an unserious fellow. I don't just want people to perceive me as an unserious fellow. I had to be serious with everything. I had to be serious with everything. So your performance culture would tell you people don't want to hang out with you based on your temper, based on your temperament, and your people don't know how to talk, right? Or how do you handle people like that? How do you handle people who doesn't know how to talk, who don't know how to approach people? How do you handle that? So you can't call yourself a leader and and you can't call yourself a leader and you have a loose lip. You can't call and you having a loose lip. Your lips can't be loose as a leader. What I'm trying to say in essence is learn to braid your tongue. Learn to bridle your tongue. Yeah, learn to bridle your tongue. You can't be loose. You can't talk like every other person. You cannot act like every other person. You cannot perceive things like every other person. You cannot sense things like every other person. Learn to bridle your tongue as a leader because people will not want to associate with you if your mouth is loose, if you don't know how to talk, you don't know how to approach people, you lack respect, you are not humble, you are not low enough, they don't want to associate with you, and they won't want to believe you, all right? So once you are done developing yourself, the next point or the next action you want to take is to study the challenges surrounding your performance culture. Study the challenges surrounding your performance culture. You know, one of the things limiting leaders is do research, right? So you must research on pretty much everything you are involved in. You must research about everything. So study the challenges surrounding performance culture. Problems don't get wish they could be solved. Problems don't get solved because we wished they could be solved. I was meeting, meeting match, and during the comments, I told my audience, life respects your wish. Life doesn't respect your wish. You can sit there and wish for all day. Wish to, wish to be a president, wish to be a minister. That is your wish for. You tonight, if it doesn't care about your work. Life respects your work. Life doesn't. So stop wishing about things to happen and get to work. See, there are some things you've got to there are some things you've got to grade with logic. Some things are just common sense. Some common sense. 5 hours to get a solution to a problem. Some things, I'm telling you, they are common sense. They are logical. They are reasonable enough to find some problems with a huge problem are actually something that could be solved with sense. Be solved with common sense. You don't have to buy holy water to solve a problem. You don't have to buy to solve a problem. You don't have to. You don't have to. You've got to have a mind of your own. You've got to have a mind of your own. That's why one interesting thing about leadership is that has to be guided. Buying holy water to solve a problem, buying holy handkerchief to solve a problem, buying holy oil to solve a problem is pretty much a waste of time. I, as a person, don't believe in such theology. Is why I'm telling you this. I'm a Christian like you, but I don't believe in such theology. I don't believe in it. So I just believe that when you are going through a problem, you talk to God about it, you pray about it, tell God what you are going through. That's the way I pretty much handle problems and I get solutions to them. So I don't know your belief about how to solve problems, right? So the next point, like I said, once you are in that journey of self-development, what you want to do next is to study the challenges surrounding your performance culture, right? Study the challenges surrounding your performance culture. And let me say this, the problem a lot of people are going through now could be character problem. Yeah, could be character problem, could be attitudinal problem. You lack you lack attitudinal cooperation. Your mental modeling is wrong. That's actually the problem a lot of people are going through. That's the problem. So you think your village people are the problem. You had a problem. You had your own village self. That's just the reason I want to associate with you is because you don't have good character. Let's be sincere with ourselves. You don't have good attitude. You don't know how to talk. And the best thing for them is to flee. They have to leave you. So what I'm trying to say is there are certain problems that you don't have to I don't know how to put it, yeah. But there are some things you don't really have to do to solve certain problems. Some problems needs logic solution, common sense. Common sense would solve your problem. But a lot of people actually believe that until I go to church, until I buy holy water, holy oil, before my problems could be solved. I'm telling you, I'm a Christian like you, but I don't have such mindset. So that's why a lot of people work on their mental modeling. What's the to growing up with you? Moment. You must break from that perception of Christianity yourself from all that problems and all. So problems don't get solved because we wish they could be solved. Problems get solved mainly because we are willing to put in the effort needed to make a change. Problems get solved because we are willing to put in the effort needed to make a change. If you want your problem solved, be willing to put in the work, be willing to work. All right. Just like I said when I started this section, right? People love the concept of leadership. So with Christianity, people love the idea of being a Christian. I see it actually is this, right? Saying you're Christian automatically really make you one. Do you get the point? Saying or claiming to be a Christian does not automatically make you one. Saying you are Christian is not a proof to convince others you are a Christian. People get to know who you are just by the way you behave. People get to know who you are by the way you behave. People get to know who you are by the way you talk. People get to know who you are by the way you attend to issues, by the way you see problems, by how you solve problems. That's the way people get to know who you are. Even based on your appearance, people can easily tell who you are. So it is not by you claiming that you're a Christian. Same thing with leadership. A mad person, a mad person can be riding in Benz. That's just the point. So this to let you know, not everybody in a very fancy car are normal. Not everybody in a very good looking suit are normal. Some people are crazy. So it is not really about the appearance. The appearance at times really doesn't matter, really doesn't count. It is your instincts, your belief system, how you respond to things, how you attend to issues, how you attend to people. These things are pretty much a symbol of who you are. They are pretty much a symbol of who you are. So learn to study the challenges surrounding your performance culture. Learn to study the challenges surrounding your performance culture. Now, you must learn what it means to be real to self. The reason why a lot of young leading professionals are facing problems in their leadership career is because they are not true to themselves. You must learn what it means to be real to yourself. Be real to yourself. Don't pretend to anybody. Don't lie to anyone. You are who you are. You are who you are. Don't be pressured by what the society is bringing or what the society is pressing towards you. Don't be pressured by anything. Don't be pressured by anyone's appearance. Don't be pressured by what your friends are buying, where they are going, or don't be pressured by anything. Be real to who you are. So it's time you need to step up. Begin to look at areas. Begin to look at areas. Study where your challenges are coming from. Study where problems are coming from and begin to greet them with curiosity, greet them with knowledge, wisdom. Is why the book of James says, I think it's the book of James, right? He who lacks wisdom. God says, if you lack wisdom, come to me and I will give it to you. So it's why I said most problems people are going through has wisdom to be solved. To be solved. The problem requires wisdom because a problem needs a solution to be solved. A problem needs a solution to be solved. So most of what you think are solutions are pretty much not solutions. All right. So we've been and study the challenges around the problems and greet everything with wisdom, with the mind of God. All right. So the next point says you need to encourage creativity. If you want to upscale your leadership performance, you must learn to one of the challenges I found out these days is that a lot of young people don't know how to think. Pretty much to say they don't know how to, they don't have a mind of their own. So somebody would have to think for them before they get things done, which is wrong. Which is wrong. You don't have to wait for people to think for you to get something done. You don't have to. You have a mind of your own. You have a spirit of your own. So learn what it means to think. Learn what it means to think. You transform your world, transforming your life. You transform your world by transforming your life. So one of the ways to encourage creativity, to welcome creativity, is to transform your life by transforming your world. So you cannot transform the world without having been transformed. Right? That's the way I see leadership as well. People, right? If I want to transform people's life, if I want to change people's life, that means the working must start with me before extending the workings to other people's life. So I want my life is at stake. Get help, they help others. Now, person will get solution for hand, they provide solution. So I can't claim that I am a leader trying to help people, whereas I'm not developing self. Development growth will definitely tell on others points. As a leader, us, with the people who believe in me, don't joke with it. So one of the ways to transform your world is by transforming your life. Transform people, you have to transform self. If you want to people, you've got to learn what it is to change self. It starts and everything starts. The last point I'm leaving here tonight is open to ideas in the process of your improvement. Be open to new ideas that would help in the improvement as a young leading professional. Learn what it means to be open to new ideas. When I started my leadership company, I used the word firm actually. When I started my leadership firm, there was something I learned in time, which is the ability to receive ideas, opinions from people. And because I did that severally, I encountered less challenges in my journey. Even presently, if I'm trying to work on any project, I call in people, I share my ideas with them, I share my belief with them. You know, this idea of if you share too much of your ideas, people will steal your ideas. I don't still believe in such concept. You cannot steal the main original person. Do you get the point? So I'm not always scared of people trying ideas, you know, project us. Before any project, right? How everything, how it starts, how it's going to end. So map first. People work or the who are willing to partner with me, operate with me. I share all of my ideas with them. I leave nothing untouched. Unless if probably I have a personal project that has to do with my life, then I put a pause. I don't tell people. But when it comes to visions, ideas, projects bigger than me, I call people in to listen to the ideas. Tell me what you have in mind. Share your ideas with me. Let's work together. Let's learn together. Let's grow together. So as a leader, be open to new form of ideas. Be open to people's opinion. Be open to suggestions. People have big ideas in mind that by the time they open their mouth and start talking, you'll be surprised. It happened to me one time. I was sharing my ideas with a guy, and he started giving me ideas on how to get the stuff rolling. I'm like, wow, this is interesting, right? Because as a leader, if you are leading people with the idea of you know more than them, you might fall a victim. So don't lead people with the idea that you know more than them. Lead with the idea that you are grooming them, you are growing them. Because if you lead with the idea that you know more than them, you might, you might eventually not want to listen to whatever they want to share with you. So one of the best way to grow as a leader, to upscale your leadership performance, is to be open to new ideas, be open to new information, be open to what people have to say, right? Be open to new strategy, new concept of ideas, philosophy, logic, reasons, wisdom, knowledge. Be open to them. That's how you upskill performance. I want to say so for taking time for content, like I said. If you are a subscriber on YouTube, and look, if this is your first time streaming live, please also I will also you can go viral and people can watch and learn from what I've just said tonight. All right. My name is Danny David. And what I do is I help empower beliefs and ideas of individuals, corporate organizations, leaders of institutions by untying old beliefs and perceptions to create new waves of ideas and thoughts that would help boost individual status quo and companies' narrative. All right. So that's pretty much what I do. I help people change their views about. Um, I'm also a writer. So I launched a book last year or early this year. Sorry, launched a book. It's vision concept. That's what the book. Vision concept. Interested in my material, send me a private materials, private DM to me, to you as well. All right. So thank you so much for spending your time with me tonight. And like I said, I don't take your time for granted. Possible. Facebook Live, YouTube. Right. Thank you so much. Do one of my wonderful. She's out.